I am. We are. That is enough. Now we have to begin. Ernst Bloch, The Spirit of Utopia. The 11 theses which follow serve as propositions, an index to ground the unfolding project, the organization of cognitive labor and the exercise of its autonomous power. We are the vanguard of our time, for we have left the past behind. There is redemption of the unfulfilled, but the historic left and its obsolete divisions are irrelevant simulations. We welcome all comrades who live on the horizon of what is possible, in a future whose only necessity is birthed from our struggle for life and freedom. A prairie fire purifies so as to give life. For today, a blockage of historical time dams the flow of change. Whether as within or without, we are bound by the detritus of this dying world. The future which grasps for breath, a future dying inside of us, a future which spasms towards utopia, the future which burns in my eyes towards yours. A new world must be born, lest it remain stillborn within ourselves. Let history be engulfed, so as to save what is yet alive within its husk. The killing fields of the past, a massacre in our hearts, should be incinerated, for under the ashes there is truth. Recomposition. Recomposition is the regeneration of the commons, the conditions in which solidarity is constituted, an assemblage of common refrains, assemblage of breathing together, a conspiracy of feeling together, the differentiated multiplicity of becoming other, so as to become we ourselves, the autonomous we that develops out of the oath which enforces the equality of otherness. Recomposition is the degree zero. It is the moment we consciously struggle to self-organize our revolution as a being in common. By reconstituting ourselves through a renascent subject, via this not yet, we draw a line of flight from capital's apparatus of capture. This is autonomous self-valorization. We simultaneously posit a liberated external space while negating capitalist command over the bioprocess. Against this project is a plan of destructuration, decoding, and deterritorialization of life and labor. The management of labor increasingly relies on the desubjectivization of the self into a individuated code by way of a machinic, cybernetic production web. Coupled with this is a cancerous pollution of our environment with neurostimuli, which creates a crisis of overproduction. The mass proliferation of pathological states which have invaded and been invaded by the psychosphere. This electrocution of the socius is the hardwiring of the soul to an unfolding neurototalitarianism. Just as it grew in the dark pools of the machinic unconscious, this is the new order wrought in the wake of the pandemic. A new imperialist form of governance exercised over the metropole and in the colonies. We concur with our comrades who see this process to the backdrop of bioecological extermination. The final solution of capital realizes its inner essence as a necro-war machine. The imposition of administered scarcity becomes a structural genocide, a total war to the death against all that lives and is still capable of truly loving, whether as declassed and precarious bare life or as cognitariat. From the streets to the digital factories, we are legion, a multitude arising from the abyss of ourselves. The COVID-19 state of exception marshaled into completion what had already increasingly been the case, a new digital mode of production which utilizes capital as only one possible program to recuperate the tendency towards a communist use of technology in production. The tendency is for the cognitariat to increase its power outside the parameters of capitalist command, thus the need to dominate it. The shock doctrine underway seeks to accomplish what the neoliberal counter-revolution failed to complete, the destruction of the final vestiges of humanism. The 24/7 condition of late capitalism results in a state of indistinction between work and consumption, a process of permanent adjustment and absorption of asignifying semiotic flows, a connective necessity for remaining competitive by a digital conformity to the code and its modulated serialization. This expresses itself through the real subsumption of labor, bourgeois control of the automation of the labor process, and its corollary being thought reduced to the preempted and predetermined program, one-dimensional submission to the techno-linguistic machines which have been implanted into the interfaces of the network body, a structural overdetermination of thought ordered by the plan of simulated capital. The classic Marxist theory of overproduction becomes permanent, a deluge, a demiurge, cybernetic electric torture, circulation being dominated by ever-increasing speed. The velocity of the turnover of info capital oversaturates the finite attention span, reducing and destroying the ability to establish meaning. With every acceleration in tempo, the body's capacity to sensibly recognize nonverbal language atrophies to the point of a generalized asphasia. The substance of solidarity stands obfuscated from forming, thereby negating the possibility of struggle. This must be negated. Destroy what destroys you. In the prevailing conditions of capitalism, all of society presents itself as an immense accumulation of pathologies. Frozen alive in electric haze, we are forcefully undergoing a mutation of what it means to be human. The categories of disintegration are omnipresent: deficits of attention, waves of panic, catatonic depression, insomniac daze, nervous malaise, autistic dyslexia, schizophrenic dissolution, anorexic dysphoria, manic chaos, spasmic disequilibrium, traumatic stress melancholia. The self implodes into 1,000 flows of networked fractals. Today, therapy is the precondition for recomposing the future revolutionary subject, not just to rediscover a lost unity, but to build a sensitivity which vibrates in unison with the common in each and in all. This recomposition is both a presupposition and the renewal of sabotage directed against the neuroapparatus and the machinic enslavement of the cognitariat. If the general intellect is not harnessed and reprogrammed, all is lost. Destroy what destroys you. Arise.